everyone. It's Tuesday, and that means it is time for Heirloom Afternoon. How are you doing today, my friends? It's a beautiful day outside. It's in the 40s today, and that means we're about to get some ridiculous snow. Once again, everybody, my name is Cheryl Muppin Sloboda, and I am here live to you through the power of the internet. And we have a brand new month upon us, and that means we have a brand new quilt on the show, a brand new quilt to show you. And this one, let's put it up on Quilt Cam. This quilt here is a beautiful example of a signature quilt, and this quilt, as you can see, even has some dates on it. So it says 1894 and 1924. So I believe that this quilt was a couple of things. It could have been for a particular person. And there is a companion quilt to this. I was actually given this quilt. I get a lot of quilts from people who don't want them anymore. And this quilt was given to me, and there was an actual companion quilt along with it. Now, these blocks have embroidery on them, and they also have signatures on them. And the signatures here range from names of people who you can find in the actual town, which right here says Pekin, Illinois. So I did just a cursory Google search for the dates 1894 and 1924 in Pekin, Illinois. And there's no significance to either of those dates to the actual town. So we can't say that this was made for like a centenary or anything like that. But there is someone who passed away in 1924, which is when I believe that this was made. And in the person who died, this could have been given as a gift or a comfort to the people who lost their loved one. April, how crazy is that you are from Pekin and this quilt is also from Pekin? That is amazing. So this quilt has lots of names, lots of embroidery on it. And this one in particular in the center, I'm going to bring my my other cam. Let me bring my other cam over. Let's do that. And let's see if we can wake this back up. Let's get this back and running. And so there we go. And we're going to turn off Quilt Cam. And we're going to show this guy. Okay, so I'll go nice and slow. This one right here, as you can see, says mother. It says mother. And we have, again, lots of other embroideries on here. We don't know if the squares were embroidered by the individual people, but it does appear that way because there's not a lot of consistency in the design of the embroideries. Like this one here, I don't know if you can see that, but the strawberries are really large and they're very dimensional. And the other embroideries are somewhat flat. They're not as puffy. And then you get some of these, which, are just pretty plain looking and not a lot of detail. There is a consistency in the last names on this quilt. You'll see a bunch of them here in a row they all say Rossi as the last name. So I believe, let's hide this for a second while I move it. I said hide. There we go. I believe that this quilt was made by the Rossi family who owned a hotel. And I believe that they made this for perhaps the family that that passed away, for the person who passed away in 1924. So again, that's just cursory Googling and looking at the last names. The Rossi family was a very prominent name and family in the city of Pekin. There's still Rossi's in Pekin. And so these two quilts, this one and its companion piece, were given to me, and they stay here in my collection. So I just think that they're really neat. To have them. And as you can see, they've been folded up, so they get their little airing out for the month. So I'm very excited about that. If you're out there, say hello. Give us a thumbs up if everything is a-okay in your world. I am going to show you a couple of really cool things, and I hope you really enjoy these two things that I have to show you. Now, these are the last of our irons, and I actually have something to show you. And I know I can't say these are the last of my irons. I have other irons, and I do have other things in the iron family that I want to test and show you. This one, however, we are not going to be turning on until sometime. Oh, Martha, thank you. Hello. Martha, your package is going out very soon. We're waiting for one thing left in it. So just FYI. And the item that we have to show you today is pretty out there. It's pretty out there. Actually, both of the things we have to show you today are really out there. Jerry, hello. How are you? Hope you are doing well as well. I think you will like this, Jerry, because this involves some crazy stuff. Today, what I have to show you is something from that I got from eBay. And is this backwards? I think this is backwards. Let's see, what did we do about that? Can we make it? We can make it go right side up. No wonder I looked crazy. All right, so we have, this is just part of a box. This is all that was left of the box. But I thought it was neat that they included it. Now, the word plancha is, it was good and now it's bad. Or am I now in reverse? Uh-oh, I hope I didn't mess it up. So this is an iron, and yes, it takes kerosene or gasoline. Got it. Good. Thank you so much for telling me. This, my friends, is a kerosene or gasoline iron. Now, this iron, this beast of a thing, is actually it's very heavy and it is very strange. And we're going to take a look at this fantastic beast here in just a moment. It did come with the instructions, and so here's the little instruction booklet. And this booklet does tell you that it is either for kerosene or gasoline. So now imagine this, right? Like the ladies out there filling their irons with kerosene or gasoline. Now, kerosene lamps, obviously, no problem, right? But this, on the other hand, this is quite strange. So let's talk about this beastie. And so here's the general sense of this iron, and this giant tank down here is where you would fill it, where the gasoline would be held. I did not clean this iron. It's in its natural shape here. Now you can take this pump off, and you can smell the kerosene that used to be in this. And here is the little filler that helps you put the gasoline or kerosene into the iron. And then you would put this back on, screw it down, and then here at the very end, you have this this also screws down, but this is the pump. And so you would pump the fumes from the gasoline into the rest of the iron like this. Okay. And then you would ignite it with the little flame igniter down here. And as you can see, yes, flames around my face, flames would be shooting out of the side of this iron. And you can see in there is, like, honest to God, like a burner. And it comes from this pump here and goes all the way around the side of the iron. Now, this weirdo iron has a very strange texture on it. And so that was interesting to me as well. I'm like, I so want to fire it up. Go fire it up. No, first of all, I know that there's no liquid in here, but there are still fumes in here. And I really don't want to have Charlie come in and put the house out from catching on fire. So, again, inside of here, it is very much like a lantern, a torch. It would basically be lit here with this as sort of a, what do you call it? Yeah, it's got stuff. So let's take a look at the directions. And then of course it has like a little character there, the Sure Flame little icon, the little character. I think he is darn adorable. And I really thought that of all the things in here, the little Sure Flame dude was super cute. Okay, so they do tell you to, like, really be careful. And so you have your iron, and they want you to you can regulate it for one or the other. So there's like this little knob here that you would twist for gasoline or for kerosene, which the whole idea of putting gasoline in an iron just is insane. Do not fill the iron while it is burning or when it is very hot. And of course, make sure that you pump it 12 to 15 full strokes of air. Never put more than 15 strokes of air in it, and then push the knob down. And then you have to put fuel into the iron itself, right, before you start it. And then you have to make sure that you've got it pumped. And then you set it back on its edge like so, standing up, which is insane to me. This is all insane to me. Insane. And then you light it. And you basically have to have all of that, like, extra gasoline burn off before you start using it. And then there's this, like, option here where you can regulate the heat, which yeah, to turn it off. So yeah, the iron, this is some of the things that can happen. It blazes up and smokes. it doesn't light or it goes out. There's all kinds, like, this is terrible. Like, this sounds like a terrible, who needed this? And then, of course, there's all this instructions on how to fix it in case it goes bad. I think that this is it's insanity. It's insanity to me that ladies would put kerosene or gasoline in an iron and think that this was all like hunky-dory. And but if you think that that is not enough, we actually had a viewer send in this exact same concept to me, and this is sent in to us by Debbie, and she has an iron that is by Coleman. This is a Coleman brand kerosene gasoline iron. So these were quite popular and actually made by more than one manufacturer, which I did not think that these were a thing. Like, I guess if you were roughing it, camping, maybe. Like, what would you need to iron if you were camping? But sure do need my gasoline or kerosene iron. So I really want to say an extra special thanks to Debbie for sending this in, because how cool is not only are these colors, right? These colors are amazing. Jerry says we need to iron the tent before we pitch it. Yeah, like, this is so crazy to me. And if you go to eBay, you will see a couple of different brands. You will see a brand for Coleman, the lantern company, the camping company, and you will see these irons that we have here, the Sure Flames. And there are other ones, and they also look a little bit more like the Coleman one, where they have the gasoline tank as like a bulb, or like a little, like, it does look more like a bulb, but it's so cool. So cool. So I just found this as an iron super fascinating. The one thing that I cannot find on the paperwork, especially, is when was this made? Like, what era are we talking about? I do have the name of the company, but I don't have very much of the box. I just have this one little piece of the box, and there's no dates on that. However, the printing on the cardboard box and the colors of the iron kind of suggest to me that they're like a 1940s, 50s, late 40s, early 50s concept. Not that I think that this was to replace an iron from that era. I think it was just an option. Again, who would need a kerosene iron is beyond me. But the fact that this was a dual one, this could do both. This could do kerosene or gasoline, to fuel. And I thought that was enough for me to want to put it in our collection. So very odd, very interesting. Comes with a lot of accessories. There are these tools here to help put this iron rest on your ironing board, so that you could keep this away from your from scorching anything. As you can see, there's a lot of black on here. Somebody did use this. Now, again, it could have been not for, this could have been a commercial type iron. So let's assume too that, anywhere that you didn't have electricity is and a place that you can't light a fire and bring over one of those sad irons that we've been showing, a kerosene or a gasoline iron would have been, would have been something that they could use. Andrea says the Amish still use and buy these today. New ones are expensive, more than $300. Oh my gosh. So we're learning a lot about these crazy irons. And, again, if you were in a place that didn't have electricity, you're not able to light a fire, this is something that could have been used in a more commercial setting. So, and as we know, the Mennonite, they use electricity, they use things like that. They use modern conveniences. But yeah, so, this was a very interesting tool. Again, it's got a lot of use on it. So to me, it says that somebody's using these, somebody wanted these, because more than one manufacturer made them. So big thanks to my friend Debbie, who sent us in that amazing picture during our big discussions about irons, and for sending over. And it just kind of was a coincidence that we were going to be talking about this thing here today anyway. So I'm a big fan of the little Sure Flame dude and his little collection. And this is going to go into my studio, but we aired it out because we took the top off, this part here, this section. We took this off of it so that we could air this out. And it still does have a pretty strong kerosene, gasoline, fume smell to it. But, who knew? I just think this is really neat. So, again, very weird, very odd. I thought it was cool that I got a little piece of the box, not the whole box, but just the piece, which, was fine with me. So kind of cool iron history. And speaking of iron history, I have a very interesting iron that I learned about while I was doing research about a different iron. Okay, so this iron, trust me, everyone, this is an iron. This may not be what you think it is. This, my friends, is called a puff iron. This is also known as an egg iron. So in older time periods, you would have a round or a dome-shaped iron on which to press things that you can't get to, one, with a standard or even a small iron. Even that child's iron would not get into some of the nooks and crannies that an iron needs to be gotten to. And that is where things like goffering irons, tally irons, all of those things come into play. And we'll talk about those down the road when we're talking about more of those kinds of things. But this iron, this is called a puff iron. And what's really neat about this is an electric version. And they were not electric before this. So they were irons that you would also heat in a fire, on your stove, etc. And when you see it, you'll understand exactly why this is a really ingenious iron. And I'm kind of surprised sometimes that it is not more available than it is. So let's bring over the cam There we are. Okay, so here is the puff iron, and I just wanted to show you. First of all, this box is incredible, and I was so excited that I got it in such great condition. But here is the drawing that I really wanted to show you, and it is absolutely incredible for this type of ironing. And here is another one. Twice as fast for Ruffles. So safe, fast, dependable. Ruffles on curtains and drapes, puffed sleeves, dressmaking, fancy doilies, oh my, and other uses. So let's take a look. Let's set this very gently aside and take a look here too. So not only is this iron like super cool, but it comes with this paper guarantee, its little instruction sheet, and the receipt. So this receipt will show you this iron was mail ordered to Mrs. Dumont Hart in 1968. And it was sent to Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And she paid a whole whopping $9.70 for it, including the insured post of 75 cents. So very interesting to me. This is patented. Oh, she paid under retail. Look at her, smarty. And she, as you can see here, the drawing, very cool. Engineered to last a lifetime. Well, from 1968 until now, it has. Doesn't this text feel very similar to the gas iron? It kind of has that same feeling to me. Anyway, you're supposed to clamp this containing a heat element. It will maintain the correct temperature hour after hour without any adjustments whatsoever. And this, to me was the biggest thing that I could see it being super useful for, and that is puffed shoulders and puffed sleeves. So if you've ever looked at those vintage dresses in even like the early Edwardian period, the Gibson girl dresses where they have those enormous sleeves, we have the ability to see how they could puff those sleeves out by using an egg-shaped iron. And so when you look for these, they can be called egg irons. They can be called puff irons. This one is called a puff iron. And so let's take a look. We're going to undo the clamp here so I can clamp it to my table. And we've got, and so you're seeing a nice little reflection of me. That's how nice and shiny it is. You also get a nice little reflection view of the studio. Hello, everybody. And we're going to, oh, no, I'm going the other way. So we're taking this and we're going to test this out. Now, when I bought this from the seller, they said, yes, it works. I just tested it. And I'm like, oh, I guarantee you I'm going to test it because I'm going to have to test it as well. And so as you can see here in the video, I'm clamping it onto the table, but I want to clamp it on securely. I don't want this to end up in my lap. That would be really bad. So now there's two levels to this table. So I'm trying to make sure we get it in a good spot. So this iron, these puff irons, these egg irons, they were absolutely critical for those Gibson girl type sleeves. If you ever saw those big, beautiful brides, sleeves, they have beautiful volume to them. This is the kind of iron you're going to want for that. We hope. Here, let's do this. Before I set all this up, let's move my table in just slightly. Perhaps. No, does not want to go. All right. So we're going to have to find a spot on this table that I am not going to die if this land. I don't want it to land on me, right? That would be terrible, wouldn't it? Oh, it's like way out of the. Okay. This is why the shows are live, my friends, for various odd reasons. We get. All right, it's almost there. I just don't want it to like hurt me. Please don't hurt me. There we go. All right. Now it wants to come off the table, and I don't want it to come off the table. So let's do this. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. There we go. All right. So let's see. We've got this right here. We will create our own table surface that can hang over and not burn me to death. Now we've got it. Now we're cooking with gas or ironing with gas. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine ironing with gasoline. I can't. It makes no sense to me. Who does that? All right. There. Now we have the iron attached to this, to an ironing surface. And we have a heavy weight that we will be putting on it so it does not end up on me. And we will be plugging in this old. Now we have a separate circuit here, so we don't actually like blow up the house. And we had that long ago. Now there is a very interesting little switch here. It's just on or off. There's no in between. You get on and you get off. And so now we're testing to see if it is heating. And let's, does it show on Quilt Cam? No, it does not. There we go. All right. So here's the egg iron. We'll kind of come at it from a little side view here. There we go. Can move it. There we go. These irons were definitely used from the early 1900s, Martha, because again, that Gibson girl, giant sleeve. Is it on? It says it's on. It does say in the instructions it needs a few minutes to heat up. Like I said, when I purchased it, I asked, does it work? And they were like, yeah, we plugged it in and it works. We will see here in a moment. So yeah, these are very interesting irons. And maybe it's just my hands warming it. But it does feel like it's getting warmer. So it's got a very odd giant plug. So we're just making sure. Oh yeah, it's definitely getting warm. So it's just taking its sweet time. It's a slow burn for this iron. But yeah, it's definitely getting warmer, and that is not just from my hands heating it up. All right, so we have this like very strange device called an egg iron or a puff iron. This one is particularly called a puff iron. America's finest iron for puffed sleeves and ruffles. So I think that this is a really cool concept, this really cool device for taking, and I've got more vintage linens here. And you would take this and you would use it like so. And so this, we're gonna see how hot it gets. Now you can tell that it's been used. It does have wear here at the top. And it is getting warm. So but it's a slow warm. It's not It's not like the other irons where you plug it in and like, boom, it's like really hot. It's taking its time. Again, there's got to be some sort of heated coil element in here that gets hot and, heats up this piece. Now we're not at a point where I can't touch it, so we know that it's getting there. It's taking its time to warm up. Anyway, again, from my perspective as a costumer, where was this when I was pressing all number of sleeves and ruffles and puffs and so on? Because I could have definitely used something like this. Yeah, it's getting hot. And these types of irons, again, they've been around for a long time. You can find egg irons, puff irons that are called egg irons, and they are on a stand or a clamp, and you would put them in your on your stove and heat it up, and it too would do the same thing. So we've got this piece here, and I'm just using this to show you that this is how you would do that. You would, run it back and forth on, the sleeve or whatever it is. Like these would be great for like caps or bonnets, depending on what you needed to use this for. I mean, this iron is from 1968, so, and it was bought new in 1968. So that tells me that, people were still needing and using this type of iron, but it's got now it is definitely heating up. And so we're getting to the point where it is, it's super hot. It is super hot. So yeah. Don't try this at home, kids. Don't put your hands on a hot iron. Right? Now, for anything that has like ruffles, this would be a great thing to iron a ruffle over. So you would just take the edge of the ruffle or the bed skirt or something like that, and instead of trying to press it over and over and over, you would be able to put it on this egg iron and get it to a nice crisp. Now it's not really taking any of the wrinkles out of this, and I could also spray this with some water, and that may help it. This is a very clean but very heavily stained and used. Yeah, maybe dampen the fabric. You're absolutely right, Martha. I agree. But I do want to see how hot it gets. So I kind of want to see where we're at before I try that. Yeah, it's definitely cool to try it out here on the show too. And I'm starting to see the creases fall out. So we're starting to see that a little bit there in the middle. Not as much as you would think, but it is. And we can also flip this over. So yeah, this is an egg iron, a puff iron, and I really was looking for one older than this, but this one, because it came with the box and everything, I just really felt like it was very cool to give it a try. And when I inquired about the item, I was like, does it get hot still? Like, I want to use it. Because this is an iron I can see myself potentially using, because I do have costumes that have puff sleeves, and they would be very difficult for me to use otherwise. And so is really not. I mean, if this were really crumpled, we can also try a different fabric altogether. Let's see. Here's definitely wrinkly. You can see that worn area there on the top. You can see that through this material. So, how hot is it getting? Is it getting hot enough to pull the wrinkles out? And you know, a lot of the times you can do that just with heat and pressure, but it does not. Even this fabric is not really. Oh no, that's hot. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't really want to take. I mean, they're softening the wrinkles. This is like a polyester. This material here. This was a brand new set of hankies, and they smelled bad, so I threw them in the wash. And you can see all that little drawn work there. It's really pretty. I do like looking at that drawn work. This is, I believe this is mostly machine made. So these are not hand done. But, you know, what's interesting is to see just how this particular fabric and this iron work together. And it's, I mean, the fabric is hot. The fabric is warm. So, you know, we've got other ones that we did iron before in the last video. Now, see, I feel like this one, this is a linen handkerchief. And so it's actually ironing quite nice. Trying not to get my hands too close to it because I really don't want to get burned today by a strange iron. It is not on my list today to get burned by an iron. So again, here is another place where, you know, you can use this to get into places that you would normally not be able to get into. But I feel like this particular fabric is behaving a lot better. I do not have any water in here. I took it all out. I took it out when we put away the other irons. So we will have to, this will have to do. But I do enjoy this iron. I think that this is something I can definitely see myself using. Even though it's vintage, I would want to use this iron because I do have costumes that have these giant sleeves on them. And I'm always afraid to launder that garment because how would I be able to press the sleeves out when they were done? And this would be how you would do that. This is actually doing it quite nicely. I do have another linen here. It's got some wrinkles in it, so let's see how it does. It's you know, hot enough for the cotton and the linen, but not so much for that polyester. The polyester did not want to go. These are handkerchiefs that I bought as on an eBay lot, and they were very, very stained. And I don't, they're not dear to me, but I do have, personally, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hankies. I do use them. I use them all the time, every day. In fact, I use hankies. We try to do that instead of using tissues and things like that, just because it's more, you know, not just because of how the people used to do it. Now I can see why that little area there on the iron is, because I keep, you know, scrubbing back and forth with my fabric on it. But you can start to see that even this one, the iron is hot enough now where we're starting to pull the wrinkles out. So I think it's a pretty neat object. Very cool for what it does, but also because, you know, again, they had a problem of giant puff sleeves being in fashion, and how do you iron them? And this makes total sense now. In order to get those wrinkles to come out, you would put them on a device like this. Now, I still think I would like to add a traditional egg iron, a sad egg iron. I guess you would call it a sad egg iron to my collection. I think that would be kind of fun. But yeah, in general, this is doing the job. It's doing the job it was designed to do, but it's also like pretty neat. And I mean, it says on the box, saves you 4 times less time. I don't know if that's necessarily true. What does it say here? Twice as fast for Ruffles? Maybe. Probably. 4 times faster for puff sleeves. I believe that. That much I can believe. But this iron is definitely, I would not call it faster on some of the other ones. Here's a wrinkled section we're going to try to get the wrinkles out of. So, what would it do, or what does it take, to get that puff sleeve? If you really want that puff sleeve to be perfect, you're going to break down and use an iron like this. Is it necessarily faster? I don't know. That much I can't speak to. I don't necessarily go and iron clothes very much anymore, and I think that's true of a lot of us. But if you do have a special garment, a wedding dress, or fancy dress, or even a costume like the ones I'm making that have these beautiful puff sleeves, and how do you press them? That's hard to say. So it does take the wrinkles out. And I do think that I do need to put some pressure on it. It does look like it's getting scratched. But I also don't know if that's glue or sticky stuff. It might be sticky stuff. Like I said, I don't care about whether or not anything is left on this iron, because it is not, or this fabric is not dear to me. I would definitely protect this if I were using, a vintage garment or something like that. I would probably use some sort of cleaner on this before I heated it up, just to get all of that potential nonsense off of there. But you can see the marks. Now, it is hot, and I'm just going to set this in one spot for a second. Because I do want to get a sense of how hot it is. And it is warm. It's definitely warm. But I wouldn't say that it's like a scalding hot. Now, it does not have any temperature control on this at all. So it is as hot as it's going to get, and it's as hot as it will be. And that better be enough. So unfortunately, I would probably prefer a dial, be able to dial my heat on this. But I mean, for what started off as a super wrinkly handkerchief, it's not doing too bad. It's not great, but it's doing it, and so that's kind of cool. So yeah, if you had a lot of ruffles or curves, I can definitely seeing an iron like this being super useful. Now, okay, so like the handle has a plastic coating on it, and that's because this thing is hot from the handle here, the side. It's hot all the way to the top. So this is why I needed it to be on something secure and fully clamped onto the table so that it did not fall backwards at me, because I knew that would be a bad thing, to have this scalding hot thing land in my lap. That would be quite the show, right? So, it does not appear to be scorching the fabric. This fabric is already stained and dirty, so these marks are not from that. They're not dirty, they're clean, they're just stained, and they won't ever not be stained. So I'm enjoying the concept here of the puff or egg iron. Now I'm going to turn it off and unplug it as well. And yeah, so that's good. And I just think that, from a standpoint of it being a very odd, very unique sewing related iron, it's definitely a cool product. It's definitely a neat thing. It says medium heat controlled, so that's it. That's why it's not getting scalding hot. It's already just medium, and irons all materials like magic. I wonder if I could send it back. Say it's not getting as hot as I would like. Yeah, puff sleeves, ruffles. I guess the concept is that you would iron. You don't even have to take your curtains down. You could just iron the ruffles right there along at your table. It's definitely cool. I'm glad I own it, and I'm glad that it's part of the collection. And I just think that from a clothing standpoint, I think it's neat. From a fixing a unique problem, it's definitely cool. And it seems to work. We're gonna move it away from me so it does not scorch me. Um, let's yeah. So I think we have gone through the history of irons, and we're not done per se, but we're done for now. And I do have some heirloom sewing techniques that I want to show you, but I also have some very cool just they're not new techniques at all. They're all old. Okay, so none of them I invented or anything like that. But yeah, this was a cool iron to play around with, and I'm looking forward to seeing if it will work on those sleeves for my costumes. But what a cool thing to find that, and of course the gasoline iron, which thank you to my friend Debbie for sending in the picture of her iron, her Coleman iron. That was really, really cool to see. So next week we're going to be we'll still have the pecan quilt up, and I'll take some pictures of some of the blocks because they're just so precious, especially this one here in the middle that says mother. And just always gets me. So I definitely want to show you some really cool objects and a cool technique or two in the next coming month. I hope that you stick around, that you stay with me here on Heirloom Afternoon. Don't forget that we are here Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Central Time. And of course, you can always find heirloom sewing tools, techniques, all sorts of fun stuff over on our website at shop.muppin.com. And I once again thank you for joining me here on Heirloom Afternoon, and I hope you have a wonderful and fantastic week. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.